advanced protocols that can get you moving again. So get started now and you can live big in 2024. These new advanced regenerative treatments are getting amazing reviews for people with arthritic pain and pain from an injury. Again, no drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Let their medical professionals give you a better path toward that pain-free life. Call 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Again, 414-285-3474.
Did it my way. Yes,
Greeny with you on ESPN Radio. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. The music choice certainly appropriate on this day by Cam, as we will pay tribute in 30 seconds to a legend that we lost, one of the most complicated people that I've ever known. We'll talk about it in a minute. Of course, we're talking about Bob Knight. We'll get there after these 30 seconds from AutoZone. Are you dealing with a dead battery? Headed to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. They offer free battery services like free battery testing and free battery charging. The free battery testing can help you know if you need a new battery or not, if you're in need of a fresh charge. If you do need a replacement battery, they're the only place you can find proven tough Duralast batteries. So next time you're having battery trouble, head to AutoZone, your battery solution, and America's #1 battery destination. All right, Hembo's not with us today, but Cam and Bubba are, fellas, and I'm going to do my best here to spend a little time talking about someone that I got to know quite well late in his life, who we lost yesterday, who was one of the most complicated people that I've ever known, and forgetting my relationship with him because he was so famous for so long that the complicated part of trying to sum up the life and the career of Bob Knight has nothing to do with the personal relationship that you may have with him. Going back to the very, very, very beginning of Mike and Mike, the very first, I want to say the first few months that we were on the air doing that show was when the Neil Reed thing happened, the event where Knight, and there was video of it on CNN, appeared to grab one of his players by the throat, and Reed accused him of choking him. And that, for all intents and purposes, ended Knight's run at Indiana. It didn't happen immediately, but it was never the same after that. It changed everything. And the rest of the story was not always pretty or fun. The rest of Knight's tenure at Indiana, his time at Texas Tech, where he did win some games and did set the all-time wins record. But if you go back to the mid to late 70s, through the time that he left there, so call it through the mid-90s, Bob Knight probably had the second most significant college coaching run in the history of the men's game. John Wooden will always have to be first. I know that Krzyzewski has won more championships, but I think you have to put Knight, let's at least say you put Knight right alongside him. The giants of the game, Knight, Krzyzewski, Wooden, Jim Boeheim, Dean Smith. These are the legendary figures. Knight is right there with any of them. He takes a backseat to none of them in his accomplishments, in his coaching, and his stature, in what he meant to the sport, and in his larger-than-life nature. And that's what I really want to try and capture for you today, if I can. Like, I could read a whole bunch of stuff here, you know, I can read you that he coached 42 seasons. I can read you, a lot of people don't know that he played on the John Havlicek national championship teams at Ohio State in the early 60s because he wasn't a star player. He was a good player, but not a star player. The star players on those teams were John Havlicek and Jerry Lucas. But Knight was on the teams and won the 1960 NCAA national championship as a player at Ohio State, and then won the 3 titles at Indiana, 76, 81, and 87. The 76 team remains the last unbeaten national champion in the history of the sport. He was the coach at Army in 1965 when he was 24 years old. So when he was coaching Coach K and the others there, he was only a handful of years older than they were. When he retired, he was the all-time leading winner in coaching wins with 902. It was January 1st that he passed Dean Smith and became the all-time record holder, January 1st, 2007. He came on Mike and Mike the next day. So we talked to him the day after he broke that record. He won the NCAA tournament as a player and a coach. He's one of two ever to do that, Dean Smith the other. He coached the Jordan 1984 Olympic gold medal team as the U.S. head coach. It's the last team of amateurs from our country to win the gold. He coached in 5 Final Fours and played in 3. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1991. So those are things I can tell you about him. They're things you can read about him anywhere. I want really badly to try and tell you more than that today because he's someone that I came to know and someone who loomed very large in my life. And in so doing, I plan to make no apologies for him. Bob Knight was a complicated man. Bob Knight was a person who had a heart the size of the state of Texas and could also do things that were so petty and so cringe-worthily small that I found it confounding. And I wasn't a person, and I will never be the person who has the stature to ask him about it. But some of the things he did just stunned me, and they cloudy what should otherwise have been one of the great epitaphs that we've ever seen from anyone in sports, because I think it is reasonable to say that very few people did more for the players that they coached over the course of their